Hey everyone, welcome back to Codezilla. Today we are again back with another problem solving question. So today we'll be doing a question which will be easier to solve if we do it with another alternative way, which is a single line of code by the way. And we will get the solution and test cases will also get accepted. Everything will work perfectly fine. But the thing is, uh, if in an interview or in the problem statement it is written, you have to do it this way or you didn't have to use this method while solving this problem, then you have to follow the constraints. Because if interviewer will ask you same problem and if you do it with your way, then he will take decision against you for sure. So that's why we need to think about the approach which is written in the question or which will not overlap with our problem statement. So now let's see the question. Today's question is on LeetCode and this is the problem which we have got. Firstly, taking off the screenshot and seeing how will it look like. Let's start up our problem. So problem which we have got today is sort colors. So in this, now let's understand, we will be given an array of num, okay, which have n number of objects, red, white, and blue color. Sort them in place means whatever we have to do in place only. We didn't have to take another array and then start doing it. So that objects of same color are adjacent with the colors in order of red, white, blue. So till here it is pretty much confusing. Like we have to sort of the colors with in the order of red, white, blue. But in the upcoming line you will understand red is considered as 0, white is 1, blue is 2. So what we have to do is we didn't have to use any of the sort functions or libraries sort functions. So that is the problem which is given to us. Now if we see 2021110. So according to the question, we have to arrange it in a way in which red comes first, white comes second, and blue comes the third. Now it is pretty easy. It will be like 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, and 2, the order which they wanted, and that's what they want. So I think the problem statement is pretty much easy to you, and what you have got in the first instance only. Why can we do it with sort function also? Although they have told us not to do it, but still let's see if it works or not. So I will write a sort function here and nums dot begin because it is a vector and nums dot end and then just return because this is a void function which they have given to us. So we didn't need to return the array. We just need to do our things and let it on them like how they want to solve it. So it is done. Now let's submit this also. So one liner code is what we have got. Okay. So it is accepted. It got accepted. Pretty easy. But will you do it or is it a good practice? For sure not. In the question, if it is stating not do not use a sorting algorithm or sorting function. So what happens in an interview? It might be like the interviewer might ask you a question and he wants you to do it in a specific way, or if in a company a work should be done in a specific way, but you might have some alternative shortcut way of doing it, but they didn't want it, and that's why we have to solve it in their way only. Now let's think about approach through which we can solve it off with a pretty easy way. So what if I say if I have it in this format, so whenever I encounter a zero, I will place it at the beginning. Whenever I encounter two, I place it at the end. And whenever I encounter one, I do nothing. Because if we have this thing, now let's if this suppose we put zeros in the beginning, twos at the end, and remaining in the beginning in the middle only. So one will be in the middle. So we got the sorted order. Okay, but how will we do it? So there will be specific steps for doing it. So step number one will be making two pointers, making two pointers, one at end and other at start. So as I am saying, whenever I encounter 0, I will I will put it into, or I will swap it with the first or the starting element. So that's what the start is. And if I encounter 2, I will swap it with the endmost element. So that what's our end is. But along with that, we also need an iterator to iterate in this. So step 2 will be iterator. If we are able to make an iterator I, so so that we can iterate in this array. And for that, I think we have to use a while loop. And why we need to use a while loop instead of a for loop is because in a while loop, the condition or the parameter which we have written is bit more in our control, but in the for loop, it will iterate in any of the cases. So we can let the iterator iterate only when we want to swap, or if it doesn't swap it, just iterate it in the else condition. That we will be seeing in the upcoming one. Step 3 will be the conditions. Conditions. So conditions will be if else statement, and on the basis of that we will be doing it. Like if we encounter a 0, then do swap with the starting element. If we have a if we got a number 2, swap it with the lastmost. If we get I, do nothing, just do I plus plus. That's what the condition means. And last but not the least, it's step 4, that is swap of element. Now if you doesn't know about swap, let me tell you what a swap is. So swap is an inbuilt function. So if I write two numbers like ARR of I and ARR of J, so what it will do is it will just make that numbers exchange with each another. So ARR of I will become ARR of J and ARR of J will become ARR of I. It will got swapped from their places. We can also do this with a temp variable also, like if we make a temp which will earlier point towards ARR of I, then we take ARR of I equals to ARR of J, and then ARR of J will be temp1. So we can do it for sure with this way, but this step shows us like we have the knowledge of STL also. And what does this STL mean? It is standard template library, means we know about the language, how there are functions and all. So these all are the steps. Now let's go step by step and see if it works or not. First of all, we have to make two pointers. So why not make two pointers as start, which will be at 0, and end, which will be at last index, and what will be the last index? Size minus 1. This will be our last index. Along with that, if we have another pointer which will be 0, so what does this pointer mean? This is the iterator which I have told you. So first step is done, one pointer at the end, one pointer at the start. These two are iterators we have. Now let's make a while loop. Now we want to make or we want the control over this iterator, so I will write I less than equals to our end. So we don't want the iterator to go beyond the end. So that's why we will stop it here only, because in the end the things will already be sorted. So the while loop is in our control. We can make the iterator or we can make the I to increase only when we want or only when the specific condition has been met. Now iterator is also done. Now let's write the conditions. The first condition will be if if we encounter a number num of iterator equals to 0. In that case, we have to do something. Else, else if we get a number of from the I which is equals to 2, then also we have to do something at least. And instead of writing else if, we will just write else condition, because we know three numbers will be there. So else will be for just 1. If we got 1, then we have to do something. Now step 4 is there, in which we have to swap the element and write the business logic of this problem. Now if we get a 0, what we have to do? Just think. We have to swap the ith index or whatever we have got with the start, num start, and we are done. We have swapped it, so we are done with this. But for the upcoming months, we have to increment the start also, so that next numbers can update it, and iterator also, so that iterator can go to the next step instead of just sitting or standing here. else condition, if we get 2, then also we have to do a swap. But now the swap will be from nums, ith index, and nums, we can say from the end. Okay, and now we have to do n minus minus, because from the end we have to come towards the middle, and from the start we have to come towards the middle by plus plus, and here from the minus minus. But here we will not do I plus plus, and the reason is if we get a number, if because we are taking a number from the end and placing it here, we doesn't know if the number which we have got is uh 2 or is a 0 or whatever it is, so we have to re-verify it. That's why we will not iterate the I here. Else we will do I plus plus, because if we got a number which is just I, or which is 1, then we doesn't have to do anything, I think so. Now we are done with the loop. We will just return and then run it and see if it works or not. It got accepted for sure. Yeah, it is working perfectly fine. But now let's understand, in this problem statement, like you can do it with sorting for sure, but what if the interviewer is clever? He knows, or if in the coding round, instead of doing it's in this way, 1 and 2, and then making it just sorted. If they say we want the output in this format, 2 2, or if I will write, yeah, 2 2 1 1 0 0, or if it will be something like you have to give output in this way, 2 2 0 0 1 1. So this is not sorted in any of the order. Now you have to make algorithm which will be functioning according to this. But if you have made this function, it will be just like this you have to do, and this you have to do. Run it, see the output, what we will get, so we get the output what is expected. But if we do it just with the sorting, or with that just clever mindset, okay, I will be solving this problem just writing a sort function, and it will be done. But if the other side is clever, they will give you something else, and then you will get stuck. So that's why this approach is for sure functional, and for sure is the best approach which you should follow. But now let's write this only. Let's run it once and then submit it and see if it's working or not. It got accepted. Submitting it off. Yeah. So it got accepted here also. So that's how you can approach this problem, and it will be easier for you to solve it in this way if some, like, here and there are also done in the question. So that's all for the video. I hope you liked it. Thanks for watching.